So, here we are, back again once again. Endwalker, Part 2. Last time the final days had begun. It kind of kicked off right away after our beautiful night of rest. The skies of Thavnir were on fire. People were turning into monstrosities, and things were bad. We discovered that feelings of despair and hopelessness will turn people into the monsters that the ancients used to create with their magics. We don't have those magics, so instead the people themselves are changing. Ahewan, the fake leader of Radzat-Han, was killed in the process, and so Vritra came out telling his people that, yo, you've been led by a dragon this whole time. And then at the very end of it all, the Charlian Forum showed up, saying that, yo, we got a moon rocket that's going to take us out of here. We'll save y'all. That's where we are. At World's End. Greetings, honored scions of the Seventh Dawn. I have a message from His Excellency, the Satrap. Brave scions, you have my gratitude for aiding my people in this most trying of times. Alas, matters here at Megaduta prevent me from meeting you all in person. As a token of mine appreciation, I have arranged for a feast to be held in your honor. May it nourish you in preparation for the trials ahead. Such are the words of Master Vritra. The feast he speaks of awaits you at Meride's Mahane. Pray make your way there whenever your business here is done. We thank you for your kindness. Indeed, I was hoping we might find a place to discuss our next course of action, and that seems an ideal venue. Ah, and to you, Kinliana Ironhide, there is someone we had hoped to introduce to you in particular. While I am loath to detain you further, might you spare a moment of your time? A personal invitation, knowing full well your services are in the highest demand right now? This must be very important. Worry not, we'll save some food for you, so take all the time you need. Thank you, friend. Whenever you're ready, please join me in the Aetheryte Plaza. I shall go on ahead. That Aetheryte is technically not supposed to be turned on, but, you know, here in New Game Plus we cheat. Access to the Aetheryte you see here has been restricted to a select few ever since the tower first appeared. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience, but it was deemed too dangerous to permit the free movement of visitors at the time of emergency, a risk we could not take. In light of recent developments, however, the Satrap has decided that such restrictions would only hinder our efforts to combat the final days. As such, I would encourage you to attune with the Aetheryte before proceeding along the corridor. Already done, gamer. Yeah, this is just the introduction to this expansion's role quests. So, we won't have to spend too much time over here since we will not be doing them right now. That is a later New Game Plus adventure. Ah, you must be wondering what this place is. You stand in the Hall of the Radiant Host, from where our leadership oversees all of Radzat-Han's military operations. Sundrop, our destination, lies just ahead. Welcome to Sundrop. Without further ado, allow me to introduce you to... Oh, so you're the famous Kinliana Ironhide, eh? I knew at the moment you stepped through the door. You have the look of one who's walked through hell. Jirabat, please, you are speaking to the Satrap's honored guest and a savior of our people. Can you not show a modicum of respect? What disrespect is there in paying a fellow warrior a compliment? We're all friends here, or will be soon enough. More formally, then, for the benefit of my countrymen, it is a pleasure to have you with us, O great champion of Eorzea, scion of the Seventh Dawn, warrior of light, and all-around good egg, I'm sure. What is this place? I hear you've been to Kugane, where you'll have seen all sorts of foreign embassies and whatnot. Well, we've got them here in Radzatan too. Other lands send delegates to oversee trade and diplomatic dealings. Then there are military matters to discuss, which is why all of these officers are stationed here in Sundrop. I imagine you're more familiar with each of the nations they represent, yes? We've got representatives from Doma, Ul'dah and Alamigo, Limsa Laminsa, Redania, and last, but never let it be said least, Ishgard. They're the eyes, ears, and mouths that bridge the distance between Radzatan and their respective homelands. We've used this brief respite to share the details of our plight with our overseas counterparts. And wouldn't you know it, all of their leaders requested a few words from you specifically. You're a woman in high demand, eh? And so would you mind regaling us with your own account? Indulge us before you indulge yourself. You see, I may have fucked up and started the end of the world. Oopsie doodle. But hey, we can fix it. I thank you for the report. The conditions under which men are turned to beasts, the etheric anomalies you have observed, you've given us much to consider. It's concerning, for the first transformation apparently occurred before the skies turned red, which is contrary to what one would expect. Thankfully, the information you conveyed to Lucia upon your return from the moon has already proved invaluable. As soon as reports of the calamity here in Thavnir reached the Grand Company of Eorzea and our far eastern allies, our leaders knew at once that the final days were indeed upon us. They began taking steps to assess the extent of the phenomenon's spread. Our agents were able to confirm that, for the time being, the skies burn only over the bounty, including this island, and Corvos. Alas, that is of little comfort. Aye, all throughout allied lands there have been reports of people transforming into hideous beasts. From what little we've learned, these incidents are similar in nature to that involving the merchant Khalzal. As was the case here, the victims underwent the change prior to the heavens being set ablaze. And so, while the burning skies have yet to manifest beyond the bounty, the transformations do not appear to be subject to any similar restriction. If anyone anywhere overcame by despair can turn, then nowhere is safe. About the size of it. Speaking of which, we ought to give these creatures a name, don't you think? Here in Radzatan, we've taken to calling the first to change, which tend to be the biggest, blasphemies. As fitting a name as any. To ensure clarity in future communications, we shall urge our comrades to adopt this terminology. Our leaders have taken measures to deal with the threat, to the best of our abilities. Aye, each nation has assembled their own groups of elite soldiers to put down these so-called blasphemies and their spawn, as and when they appear. At the same time, they're doing all in their power to put people's minds at ease and prevent panic and fear from spreading. That said, brave souls with the strength and fortitude to fell these terrible fiends are not easily found. Just so, and it's for that very reason that we turn to you. Pray lend us your strength and help us slay the blasphemies that plague our homelands. Now, you don't have to give your reply before dinner. I should also mention that each blasphemy seems to possess wildly different characteristics. What works well against one may serve you poorly against another. So before you go rushing off to save everyone's day, have a word with the delegates. They'll tell you what to expect. And with that, I do believe our friend here has a feast to attend. Spare a thought for us while you're tucking into all that fine cuisine, eh? Now I can do the role quests of Endwalker. But no! I've already done them, and that will be a future New Game Plus escapade. Pray forgive Shirabat her rudeness. She can be a bit boisterous at times, but it is simply her nature. Anyway, my apologies for keeping you from your hard-earned rest. You will be rejoining your companions, yes? You know the way to Mayhain? Hey, I know Radz-at-Han like the back of my hand. Glad to hear you're becoming familiar with our fair city. You'll be pleased to hear that all drinks are on the house, so order whatever suits your fancy. And with that, I must return to my post. On behalf of all the Radiant host, I thank you and your friends for once more lending your strength and courage to Radz-at-Han in our time of need. We shall endeavor to fight the good fight to the end, that we may honor Ahewan's legacy and serve Master Vritra well. You have my word that your efforts will not be in vain. Welcome. When the satrap asked us to entertain a party of honored guests, I was wondering who it might be. This is a lovely surprise, to say the least. By the way, I heard all about Kalzal from your friend Grahatia. I understand there was nothing that could be done, but I was heartened to hear he meant us no harm. I cannot thank you enough for dispatching the beast. As the smallest token of our thanks, your food and drink tonight are Meride's treat. Speaking of which, what shall I start you off with? A glass of your finest local spirits. As you wish. Pray join your friends, and I will bring you your drink. That bottom answer of water, just water, stems from the Warrior of Light's inevitable PTSD of that time in Ishgard when the bartender fucking drugged her drink. Welcome back. Whatever did the Radiant want with you, pray tell? Our allies have sent military delegates. That's news to me. Mind sharing the details?
So blasphemies now plague all the realm.
It will only get worse if what Father said is true, as it did in Amarot.
If that's our model, then shouldn't we expect the effects to grow more severe as it feeds off its own spread? As if people transforming into those monstrosities wasn't bad enough. If the flora and fauna, if the land itself turned against us.
No one would survive.
Here's your order, friend. May you find comfort in these dark times.
Where do we go from here? If there's one thing we've learned, fighting blindly and simply reacting to what comes will accomplish nothing. We must find a solution that addresses the fundamental cause. Before our strength is exhausted, before this crisis spirals out of control. Is there something, anything we've overlooked?
If there is an answer, Hydaelyn herself will have it. 'Twas she who bound Zodiac and forestalled the final days. Alas, we have heard naught from her since the Tower of Babel. Whether she cannot or will not speak, I can only speculate. Even the flower she gave us is no more.
In our time we called it Elpis. You would do well to remember the name.
So advised the Watcher. But what could be the significance of that name? It is entirely unfamiliar to me.
To me as well. It meant something to the ancients, though. In our time.
Most surely. Yet I do not recall a single mention of it in the records of Anida.
Another dead end. And quite literally. It's not as if there are any ancients living we could go and ask.
Not alive as such, but not quite dead. Elidibus. I sealed him in the white auricite of the Crystal Tower back on the first. Contained within that reservoir of ether that maintains it, ether that is returned little by little to the sea, naught may remain of his soul. However, if part of it lingers, we might be able to speak with him there. I know we can no longer make that journey, but you, my friend, still can.
It would be an opportunity to look in on the others as well.
Thank you, my friend. That would mean much to me.
If nothing else, should we learn the first is safe, we'll have that much more reason to keep fighting the good fight. That said, the odds are not in our favor, to say the least. Which is why we're fortunate to have Urianger up there on the moon, working hard to make all the necessary preparations for our departure, should it come to it.
And why we have nothing to lose by staying the course till the last instant.
Indeed. To the last, let us all do what we can. I will consult with Master Matoya and see if she knows of a way to reach Hydaelyn from the ethereal sea.
And I will visit the nation's leaders and attempt to ascertain how far the final days have progressed elsewhere.
Keep me abreast of your findings. I can seek out and slay the worst of the immediate threats, if only to slow the spread.
Unease, terror, despair. Try as we might to suppress them, these emotions will return to harry us time and time again. But when they do, remember this. Your friends and loved ones are out there somewhere, sharing in your struggle. You are not alone.
So ends the brief respite before the next revelation. Yes, so much left for you to see. Where beginning ends, and end begins.
Thanks, ominous Emmett Selk narrator. Now then, is there anything we've forgotten to mention? Are your arms and armor in good armor? Or order? Arms and armor in good armor. In that case, it's time we each attended to our tasks. And when you arrive on the first, give my regards to Reen. Tell her I miss her. Take this, Kinliana, my spirit vessel. Empty now, of course, but it should allow you to operate the tower's systems in the umbilicus. If even the smallest fragment of Elidibus's essence remains, it should be possible to locate it. As for access to the umbilicus, pray seek out Lena for assistance. Chances are she still stands watch at the Ascensor Gate. Should she or anyone else ask after me, tell them I am living my life to the fullest, that I am happy, hardships and all. Well, we'd best be on our respective ways. God's willing, we will see each other again ere long. And so we return to the first. The beginning of my favorite chunk of this expansion. But why would the first be my favorite, you're asking? Well, you see, it's not about the first. Where we're going from after the first. Ileana, you are returned. Have you been well? You and the others? No shortage of troubles, but we're well enough. Then things are much the same for you as they were here. My lord is doubtless enjoying himself. He said this to you? These exact words? Oh, to know that he is happy fills my heart with joy. Thank you, Kiliana, for taking care of him. When next you see him, please tell him not to overexert himself. Futile a request though it is. And tell him that all is well here. The peace you gifted us continues, and we work hard to build new lives for ourselves. In the course of this, we occasionally bicker, but we've never been more optimistic for the morrow. If I had to mention one dilemma, it would be the question of our governance. Even as we speak, debate rages on how we should run the city in the Exarch's absence. Most are of a mind that the Settlement Council should continue to oversee the general running of the Crystarium, while representatives are elected to determine policy and handle diplomacy. Thus far, nothing is set in stone, but however we choose to proceed, we will not replace our lord. No one could. Have we recently observed any unusual phenomena? No, I cannot say there have been. Curious that you should ask me this question, though. Some days ago, Reen came and asked the very same. She was rather unsettled, in stark contrast to how cheerful she has been of late. He and other Crystarium youths just hosted a festival, you see. It proved so popular that there are already plans for another celebration, one much bigger than the first. Between her preparations for the festival and the restoration of the empty, she struck me as happy and full of life. So when I saw her in a state of such worry, I couldn't help but feel worried in turn, especially since she wouldn't tell me what troubled her. I dare say she would be more willing to confide in you. May I ask you to broach the subject with her? You wish to enter the Umbilicus? Very well. I shall fetch the key at once, and take the opportunity to find Reen. Please wait for me in the city, in front of the Cabinet of Curiosity, shall we say. I will be along as soon as I can. Back into the Crystarium we go. What? A lookout point? How have I never seen that? Never walked back in the front door, apparently. Well, now I have to go get that. Look, I know the world's ending and all that, but show me a shiny point that I can collect for my book of collections and just gotta be done. You know? Free experience for my Reaper. Where was that? There it is. Ooh, you have to make the jump. Made it. The Rotunda. Upon stepping foot inside the Crystarium, one is greeted by the sight of a stately, doomed dome structure, walkways and hallways branching away from its walls like arteries from a beating heart. Constructed of elegant black iron and sheets of shimmering crystal, it is the visitor's heart that the building It is in the visitor's heart that this building is like to remain. Can't read English, by the way. First sightseeing log of Shadowbringers. I have no idea how I missed that. I mean, it wouldn't have been there when I first walked in initially, because you unlock the sightseeing log mid-expansion. Alright, to the Cabinet of Curiosity. Following events cannot be skipped. They're not being a queue, idiot. Do my old eyes deceive? Is that truly Kinliana? Ha! It is! Full glad am I to see you hale and whole, my friend. What a wonderful surprise it is to have you back with us, and at this most opportune time. In case you haven't heard, we're planning to produce a tome chronicling events from the Flood to the Knight's return. For this project, we intend to draw upon records kept by the world's peoples. Historical and contemporary first-hand accounts that will be the centerpiece of the tome, but yours would be the one to crown them all. I've been asked to contribute a chapter on the soul, a subject that is key to understanding much of your endeavors. In the course of developing the spirit vessel, I gained valuable insights into travel beyond the rift, knowledge that will allow me to attest to your existence and deeds. There's no end to questions I would ask you, but if you can indulge me just one for now. In your quest to restore the night, you faced many a formidable foe. Among them, who offered you the greatest struggle? Hades, who bore the burden of his people. Ah yes, Hades, he who sought to resurrect his ancient brethren. He was the final obstacle in your quest to restore the night, your battle in the depths of the Tempest, stuff of epics. Yet compelling as it is, I worry mere words wouldn't do justice to that fateful confrontation. Not that we would think to omit it entirely, of course. No, at the very least, we will impress upon readers that it was the climax of your hero's journey. I know you'd love to talk your ear off, Morin, but we really should be on our way. These documents from Yulemore won't collect themselves. Of course. And afterwards, would you care to join me for tea? I was hoping you might clarify a few points in your treaty. Till next time, then, do tell the others to look after themselves. Our overzealous friend in particular, remind him not to overexert himself. Again and again, till his ears fall off, if that's what it takes for him to take it to heart. Yeah, Graha. Fucking relax. Gasp! Is that the Warrior of Darkness? It's her! It's really her! What are you doing here? If you're going to battle, I can give you some medicine. I made it myself. Best not, Riki. You'd only give her a stomachache. We've come to see Morin to get his advice. One of the guard finally agreed to teach us how to fight, but first we need to choose a fighting style. While I know that I want to be a mage, Arkil isn't sure. Magic isn't really my thing, so I was thinking of taking up the axe, or the sword, or maybe the bow. They all seem alright, but it's hard to decide, so I thought I'd ask Morin. He knows a lot about these things. He isn't here? No. Ooh, why don't we have the Warrior of Darkness choose for you? What do you think suits Arkil best? Axe, sword, or bow? He looks a little bit like Ardbert, so I would say for smiting your opponent, the axe. The axe? If you took up the axe, you could just be like... Ardbert, the Warrior of Light! I love that tale. Let's borrow the book today. Really popular, though. I hope it's still there. Thanks for helping me decide, Warrior of Darkness. I'll start with that style and maybe try something else later on. When I get really strong, I hope to have a bout with you. Such fun she's been having, basking in adoration of musty old bookworms and wide-eyed younglings. But does she spare a thought for me? Of course not! I waited and waited and waited, but she wouldn't so much as acknowledge the presence of her beautiful branch, even though they're right here. Such a heartless thing our sapling is, cold and cruel and heartless. Oh, faithful Feoul, loveliest of branches, how I've missed you. If you truly missed me, you would have cried for me at the top of your lungs the instant you arrived. To make up for it, you will call me to twice the passion next time. Though, for there to be a next time, you've some few struggles to overcome. So, my adorable sapling, the world is on verge of destruction, is it? How do I know this? Joined as we are, spying on you is as simple as sliding down the back of a rainbow. Would that I could aid you in your quest, but the fate of we Fey folk is bound to that of the star. Whither it goes, so too do we follow. Such is our way. The most I could do for you is spare you the pain by gifting you the sweetest of eternal dreams. But if escape's not to your liking, then you must struggle with your fellow mortals. Ah, but here are the ones you were waiting for. I wonder what manner of conclusion awaits at tale's end. My apologies for the delay. Kinliana, it's so wonderful to see you again. You doubtless have much catching up to do, so I shall leave you to it. I've taken the liberty of unlocking the umbilicus, and you may enter at your leisure. Oh, young Reen. How I've missed you. You are precious. Thancred misses you more, but that's okay. I'm relieved to hear that everyone is well. I had this feeling, like a pit in my stomach, and I was afraid that something might have happened. Maybe I'm overthinking things, but it's just that I'm the Oracle of Light, but I've never spoken with Hydaelyn. Never once heard her call. Even so, I've always had this feeling deep inside of me, a connection to something immense. These past few days, though, that connection has wavered, as if that immense something was distant, then close, then distant again. And then, the other night, I was jolted awake by the feeling it had been completely severed. Wanting some fresh air, I went to open the window, and to my horror, the sky was ablaze, like during the star shower. But then I blinked, and everything was normal. The next day, no one said a thing. No one else had seen what I had seen. As far as I could tell, nothing was out of the ordinary. I began to wonder if it was a figment of a half-remembered dream. Kinliana, what are you not telling me? I have to know, please. It doesn't matter how terrible it is. Yeah, the world's kind of ending. Yeah, rough stuff. Wasn't my imagination then. The doom we witnessed at Amarod has come again. Can't believe it. Like I told you before, all is well here in the First. So don't worry about us, please. Look only to the threat before you. We're fine right now, and even if we weren't, we've learned how to survive. Should the final days reach us here as well, you may be assured we won't go quietly. Now, no, we'll hold on until you can find a way to save all our worlds. So long as you continue your fight, so too shall we, united in purpose beneath a blazing sky. You're headed to the Umbilicus to consult with Elidibus, right? I'll do some consulting of my own and speak with Lena. Decide how we might best prepare for the final days. So it's farewell for now, but we'll see each other again. I'm certain of it. And that is enough of... That is all of our reunions, with the exception of one. We go to consult. That's not the right teleport. And there we go. With Elidibus, he who we felled. Who we defeated when he became his own sick, twisted version of the Warrior of Light, the former Heart of Zodiark. Ah, Mistress Kinliana, welcome back. The captain has told me all. Give the word, and I will show you to the ocular. Heartfelt memory of our friends during our journey in the first.
Biometric authentication complete. Please state your business. Acknowledged. Reinitializing Circus Tower systems. Searching for Elidibus entity. Target located in subterranean core power accumulator. Projecting image.
My home. My friends. No more than a dream. You. Why have you awakened me? I no longer sense those places beyond, or Lord Zodiark. You must explain all.
Yeah, about Zodiark.
So, he is fallen, and my brethren's souls returned to the star. The doom we sacrificed so much to prevent is come again. Old burdens now yours to bear. But if this is Fandaniel's design, then I, as Elidibus, have a duty to fulfill. Your unsolicited act has restored to me some few memories of the convocation. Such knowledge as I have, I will share.
Sorry.
Why apologize for receiving a favor of the defeated? If it sits ill, consider it payment for freeing Lord Zodiark from servitude. Where to begin? Ah, the end. Your understanding of what caused the final days is consistent with our own. The decay first took root where the currents were weakest. Yes, a conclusion drawn by him, Fandaniel. Not the him of here and now, but as I knew him, long, long ago. Having shed light upon the phenomenon, he dedicated himself to devising a countermeasure. Were it not for his knowledge of the Celestial, we would never have made the connection, and thence forestalled the final days. And though he inherited that noble soul, how different this last incarnation, so consumed by self-loathing and hate. Elpis. Yes, the name is familiar to me. Yet I know it not as a flower, but a place. A testing facility for determining which of our creations were fit to be released into the world. Many worked there, and before joining the convocation and assuming the title of Fandaniel, he was their chief. He was Hermes. That is all I know. The crystals tell little of the lives the 14 led prior to their induction. Elpis itself would tell even less. Nary a ruin has survived. Wait. I saw you there. In Elpis. No. I did not. But I did. I did. A lingering trace of impossibility. And a truth that fills my heart. My memories remain clouded, I fear. However, they have revealed to me one possible course. You must travel to Elpis, to the time when Hermes served as its chief. In glimpsing the Exarch's memories, not only did I make his summoning magic mine own, I also mastered the workings of this tower, which, having absorbed my empowered essence, now harbors an abundance of energy. As such, I believe I can deliver you unto the past, unto that place and that precise moment. Given the eons that must be traversed, the gateway will not be fully formed. Your form will be less tangible still than those warriors of light I had summoned. In all likelihood, none will be able to see or hear you. Yet even should you manage to interact with others, you will be unable to effect meaningful change. For the reality you wish to save, the reality to which you must return, exists as a result of the final days. You cannot reshape the past to undo the tragedies of the present. Cannot unmake the sorrow and suffering fated to come. In full knowledge of this, will you still entrust your life to your foe and make the journey? Very well. I shall cast you unto the river of time. Let this be my final act. You must input the commands. I no longer have the authority. First, you must reconfigure the systems, that the tower's ether may be channeled for the magic. The preparations are complete. The gateway will soon open. Return at once to the Ocula. All appears to be in order. The ether flows unimpeded. The magic should consume every last mote of my essence. Why are you surprised? Did I not say that this will be my final act? Lord Zodiac is no more. There is nothing for me here. The ones I love and long to see again are waiting in that promised land, beyond memory and dream. Now go, warrior of light. Go, and do not look back. Well, Heidelin, I take my leave of you. Yours is the mantle of the last of us. May you have the joy of it, the burden and the solitude. It falls to you now. You and your champion to save our star.
And unto the past we go. Welcome to the part of the game that is my favorite part of this entire game. All expansions, all locations, settings, and character. A man stands dutifully by the Aetherite-like device, a guide for this facility in all likelihood. You attempt to get the man's attention, but if he sees or hears you, he gives no indication. As Elidibus warned, it appears your form is intangible. This is the right place, yes? Propylion? Judging by the woman's word, this facility is called Propylion. You attempt to gently prod the woman to attract her attention, but feel nothing, and it seems neither does she. You don't want to sprint, damn. The device is reminiscent of an aetheryte. Perhaps it's possible to attune with it. Despite attempting to channel and focus your energies, you fail to attune with the device. You can only assume it operates differently. The remarkably large man wears a black robe and half mask, much like the phantoms you encountered in Mare Lamentorum in the recreated Amarat. It would seem you've made it to your destination. You gesticulate wildly and shout all manner of greetings and obscenities, but the man does not so much as glance in your general direction. You suspect the door leads outside, but how to open it?
And here we are, Elpis.
Well, well. How rare to receive you in person. To what do we owe the honor?
Oh, just a few odd tasks. We'll be here a while.
You're welcome to stay as long as you see fit, of course. As a matter of procedure, however, I must ask that you kindly remove your masks.
Come now. Is this truly necessary? Surely you can tell who we are.
That voice.
Who you are, perhaps, but I am far less infamous. Regardless, if we do not follow protocol, 'tis our hosts who would be held accountable. So, please, do favor us with your handsome face.
Satisfied?
I thank you for your cooperation. You are free to go about your business.
By the by, you see it too, yes?
I haven't the foggiest what you're talking about.
That fucker looked right at me.
That's odd. It's right here. A bit thin in the ether, but there's no mistaking it. The color of its soul is almost identical to Azem's. Do you suppose she created it? Rather unusual for a familiar to have a soul, though.
Don't ask me. All I know is that it's trouble. Doubly so if it's her spitting image. So let's leave it be. Come now.
It's trying to say something, but it's literally too intangible to form words. Why don't you give it some ether? Spare a snifter of your bounteous reserves.
Who do you take me for?
Why, a dear friend, of course. One who wouldn't let acts of kindness, such as my accompanying him on errands to far-flung outposts, go unrewarded?
I suggest you close your eyes, or this may be unpleasant. You may open your eyes.
Oh, you even adjusted its size.
The better to indulge your whim. This way, it will be easier to communicate.
How very thoughtful of you. And may I applaud your artful reinforcement. Without further ado then. Greetings! I am Hythlodaeus, Chief of the Bureau of the Architect. Sulking beside me is the most honorable Emmet Selk of the Convocation of 14. And how might we address you, my new friend? A fine name, and I'm pleased to see you understand our words. So, tell us, whence have you come? The thinness of your essence suggests you weren't created here. You do not know? Or cannot say? Allow me to ask a different question then. What brings you here?
I seek a man named Hermes.
Well now, the same as us. Perhaps Azim wished to come too, but had to settle for a familiar.
If she truly wished to be here, then she would be.
Right you are. My apologies if we've given offense. The two of us can discern the color of souls, you see, and yours happens to resemble that of a friend. And with your purpose matching our own besides, we jumped to a hasty conclusion. We are here to speak with Hermes, the chief overseer of this facility, which we also intend to tour in order to gain greater insight into the man's work. We, I say, though this is Emmet Selk's charge. I am here only to serve as his guide. And I should be happy to serve as yours as well, by way of an apology for the misunderstanding.
Wait, are you suggesting that we bring it along on official business? This thing we know next to nothing about?
If you harbor suspicions, better to keep it close than leave it to its own devices. Wouldn't you agree? Besides, having a mysterious life form in tow is the norm rather than the exception here. Welcome, my friends, to the testing ground of creation at Heaven's Edge, Elpis.
This presence.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Hermes! Visitors! We have visitors!
What secrets are you hiding, I wonder?
So we find ourselves in the company, once again, of the grouchiest man ever. But now, in his younger days, Emmett Selk. In case you didn't know, it's rude to stare. Stop. And Hythlodaeus, our new old friend, who we met a fake version of him, and then on the moon we met his soul. Now, stranger. This is hardly my first time here, but the scenery never fails to take my breath away. Why, it feels as if you could reach out and touch the heavens. Now then, to begin our guided tour. Perhaps you already know these things, but for the sake of thoroughness, I shall start with the basics. Using concepts to give shape to ether, creation magics allow us to bring forth anything we desire, be it inanimate objects or living beings. Anyone may conceive of concepts, but they must all undergo evaluation at the Bureau of the Architect. As part of that process, living beings and certain arcane entities may be sent here to Elpis for in-depth observation and study. A fascinating facility, isn't it? I dare say you will enjoy touring it with us. Now then, our friend Hermes. Aside from overseeing the facility, he also conducts his own research. Chances are he will be at the main observation hub, so let us seek him out there first. Attired as you are, however, you stand out a little too much. Our dear Emmett Selk wishes to keep a low profile for his errand, so... You know how to make a robe. The basic concept will do. No. In that case, Emmett Selk... No. Your whim, your responsibility. You're getting not another thimble of ether out of me. The way he scrimps sometimes, you'd think he wasn't a nigh-bottomless font of magic. Very well, I shall make the robe, but perhaps you can assist. Come, let us search for the requisite material. Opus. Past. Glory. Yes, these creatures should suffice. An etheric rope. I want you to use it to capture, shall we say, 2 petalodi. There are 3 species here, I believe. Any 2 different kinds should serve. Now, I should mention that the strength of the rope is tied, no pun intended, to the strength of its user. As your aether is still thin compared to ours, you'll need to weaken the petalodi first. Good luck. Okay, you're not a petalodi. Leave me alone. Angry. Snack. Oh, oops. Yeah, weaken, and then accidentally murder. There we go. You caught the Petalodi. Come, come, let us see. Yes, these fine fellows will do nicely. And now for a spot of reversion. There, it's ready. Nothing fancy, but then we're trying not to stand out. Try it on for size. Won't someone be angry with us for using those creatures? Oh, it's fine. There's no one around to tell us off, and besides, we can always make more Petalodi. They need only a tiny amount of ether. It may take some effort to get the form and composition right, but anyone familiar with the concept should be able to manage. Well and good to disguise and educate it, but it won't fool anyone who can see worth a damn. Fair point, but at the very least it should spare you unwanted attention from casual observers. Mitzelk speaks true. Even dressed like us, your unusual nature will be plain to those who think to look. Should someone question your presence, don't make up excuses, much less try to explain what you actually are. No, best to simply say that you're familiar. Question is whose? Ah, of course, Azim's. If you say you belong to her, people will give you the benefit of the doubt for any and all outlandish behavior. Exploiting our associate's absence. For lack of her presence, absolutely. Were she here, she'd have been the first to propose the idea, and you know it. With that, your story is settled. Let us continue with our errand. Yeah, I'm kind of a dragon lady, so, I don't think people are gonna find me, very, very normal. You are ready, then let us continue along the path to Anagnorsis. Anagnorsis. Hate it. The place serves as an observation hub and residence both. Someone there should be able to point us in the direction of Hermes. Yeah, I have those robes somewhere in an inventory. I don't know, let's see if they're findable. It's like sophist robe. I think they're in my glamour dresser. Search for item. Yeah, no, they're one of my retainers. It ain't happening. Eh, it'll happen. Alright. Sorry, Emmett Selk. I'm gonna go. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I left my robe in the laundry. Gotta look the part. Alright. Oh, of course. Unable to do this in New Game Plus mode. Hold on. Hold up. I suspended. Oh, cannot execute command mounted. Weird. Suspend. Right. Summoning bell. You draw the robe. I don't think they give you a mask. I think they just give you the robe. Alright, cast glamour. Da robe. It's actually kind of funny if I leave the gauntlets on, because that's kind of exactly what would happen. It would just be like, they gave her a robe. Alright, cool. Yep. Well, Well, alright, I'm gonna teleport to the town, and it's only... Just slap a fucking entire robe over her plate mail. Typically, been over here, would have put on the robe, been down the bicycle path. Can I help you? We wish to speak with Chief Hermes. Do you know where we might find him? Well now, by your mask, I assume you're one of the 14. I wasn't aware that there was to be a visitation. Between you and us, it's something of a surprise. Your discretion in the matter would be most appreciated. I see. My lips are sealed. The Chief should be out conducting observations as usual. His focus of late has been aquatic creatures, so I expect you'll find him at one of the pools here. The pools, you say? Many thanks, and apologies for disrupting your work. I say, Hythlodaeus, while I've never met Hermes, you know him well, do you not? That being the case, couldn't you simply find him by his ether? Aye, that I could. As you know, Emetzelk and I can discern the color of souls. At the same token, we can also see ether quite keenly from great distances. With this skill, I could readily locate Hermes, but I felt that it would be a waste of an opportunity. We're here to perform an assessment, after all. By searching the ordinary way, we stand to gain insight into Elpis and the men in charge of it. This is as much for your own enjoyment, like as not, but point taken. You're going to accompany us, make yourself useful, and help us look for Hermes. According to his profile, he has short, dark hair. So you know, it's because we're in Elpis that we don't have our cowls up. Special exemption is due to the need to be aware of dangerous creatures. Elsewhere, we do not exhibit our individuality. It's unseemly. This is all common sense, but I would not assume you possess any. It's a rare treat indeed to be able to search for someone by their appearance, and I thank you for humoring me. Come, let us find our man. God, outside of Elpis, we would never show off our faces. God, imagine looking like a person. Disgusting. Alright, Chief Hermes, where you at, bro? You do be at a puddle. Here you are.
Huh. You are...
Oh. Different. You're different too. You and me. We're alike. Friends. I want to be... Wait. Please. Wait. Greetings and salutations. Can you hear me? Do not be alarmed. I mean you no harm. I wish only to hear your words, share your feelings, and know your thoughts. May we please be friends? May we please be friends?
Ah, I see you found him.
Hythlodaeus! It's been a while. Too long, I think.
Too long indeed for close collaborators. On this blessed occasion, I bring not only myself, but others who long to speak with you.
You are of the convocation?
Emmett Selk at your service. Do I have the honor of addressing Hermes, Chief Overseer of Elpis?
You do. You have traveled far for it.
Given your facility's purpose, its remote location is something of a necessity. Would that I didn't have to rely upon a guide.
Oh, you wound me. Have I not ever been an attentive and helpful friend? But moving along to more agreeable company, this one we chance to... Well, you certainly have her attention. Is she one of yours, Hermes?
Her name is Meteon. It means shooting star.
If I may make an observation, her ether is terribly thin. I fear she might dissipate at any moment. Nor do I believe you've made a submission to the Bureau. I would remember such a concept if you had.
I haven't, as you say. I judged it too early. She's a pet project of mine, still undergoing preliminary testing. But rest assured that I will attend in person ere long.
Very well. Being an authority on flying life forms, I appreciate that you are exacting in your work. I shall look forward to your submission.
If we have finished with the perfunctory chit-chat, I would discuss official matters. By my coming, I trust you already anticipate the subject.
I have an inkling, yes. Please wait to the main building yonder. I shall join you as soon as I've returned these creatures to their homes.
What's wrong, Hermes?
An amystoma is missing.
I may have found it. A creature with the self-same ether as those there, nestled in the boughs of a tree outside the grounds.
You're saying they can climb, with their sorry excuses for limbs?
The fashion has been to imbue aquatic creatures with the power of flight, ever since the words of Metron created a sky-swimming fish. The Amystomas too can fly, if only slightly, and they could conceivably climb a tree. Whether they can come down safely, however... Excuse me.
I'll help, too!
And what are we supposed to do with this lot?
May I suggest we split up? If you would be so good as to assist Hermes, Emmett Selk and I shall keep an eye on these adorable creations in the meantime.
You're probably wondering how I ended up here. Oh, Hermes. Seems Hermes and Meteon have found their quarry, a creature known in this age as an abystoma. Yet, though it has been safely extricated from the tree, Hermes appears to have found himself in quite the predicament.
The abystoma! Hermes saw it high up in the tree! He climbed up to get it, but it jumped on him and he slipped.
Do you need a hand? No, I'm fine, if a little embarrassed. Now, for your own safety, please stand back. Ugh.
Hermes, are you all right?
Quite all right, yes. My apologies for making you worry, Meteon. Both you and, Kinleon Ironhide, you're called. An intriguing name, somehow reminiscent of a new creation. Thank you for coming after me. As for you, little one, you must be more careful. You may be able to fly, but it doesn't mean you cannot fall and hurt yourself. Oh no, I'd forgotten all about its fellows. Truly? What a relief. I must thank Emetselk and Hethlodaeus when I return to them. But first, with the distractions out of the way... As Chief Overseer of Elpis, permit me to welcome you to our facility. I hope you will enjoy your time here. I think that's a good place to leave it. It's almost midnight. I was only going to go until midnight. Just kind of get a short introduction so that I can really be in Elpis next time we play. Yeah. Because I love this. Love this place. I love the characters. I love the characters we already knew. I love exploring them. Meteon's cute as fuck. Get to see creatures that we already know about, but they have different names and different habits. Good stuff. But, yeah, it's getting close to midnight. We've had a nice calm evening. Despite Bayonetta for the first 2 hours being not calm. But, you know, that's just me being me. So thank you. Hanging out with Kinleon and myself. Next time, we really get into it. Tomorrow, the plan is for a full FF10 run. If the plan actually happens, who knows? FF10 of some variety. I need to practice. But I don't know what else is happening in life, and it depends on what time I wake up. So if you're still lurking, I appreciate you, and I hope to catch you in the next stream. Have a good